December 8, 2002. Meeting as Equals. The Eastern Catholic Churches in the United States have a concern for the moral issues of the day that equals that of the Latin Catholics. It was for that reason that some bishops rose to speak at the recent meeting of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. At that meeting, a number of matters were discussed and acted upon, but the one that received the most publicity was that of the protection of children and young people. The discussion focused on two documents. One, the Charter for the Protection of Children and Young People, basically a commitment to each other and the general public to deal strongly, consistently, and effectively with the matter. And two, norms for eparchial or diocesan law to deal with allegations of sexual abuse of minors by priests and deacons. These norms were discussed and agreed to by the bishops at their June 2002 meeting. They were then sent to the Holy See, who returned observations that would ensure that local law was consistent with universal law, canon law. It must be noted that there are two separate and distinct codes of canon law, one for the Latin Catholic Church and one for the various Eastern Catholic Churches. The observations from the Holy See reflected both codes, but the revised norms prepared by the American bishops failed to make appropriate references to the Eastern Code. When this was brought to the attention of the bishops, some of them didn't seem to understand the problem. They seemed to equate our situation with that of Roman Catholic religious orders. These will have the norms available to them, but may adjust them to allow the goals of the Charter to be carried out in the setting of religious community. This was an inappropriate comparison, since the laws for those religious orders are built on the Latin Code of Canon Law. For the commitment of the bishops to deal with sexual abuse efficiently and consistently from one eparchy or diocese to another, the norms would have to be consistent with both codes of canon law. We Eastern bishops were not just clamoring for equality with the Latin Church, but were insisting that we be able to benefit from the norms' help in establishing our particular law. How could we agree to norms of law that did not take into consideration our universal canon law for the Eastern churches? Another incident of the conference drew attention to the Eastern Catholic bishops. At one point, the discussion was to focus on the Latin Catholic liturgy. During such discussions, the Eastern Catholic bishops meet to discuss matters of interest specific to our Eastern churches. For example, religious education or seminary education. While we were meeting, the other bishops concluded their discussion of the liturgy and proceeded to consider a statement regarding the possible war with Iraq. When the bishops realized that we were not present, they sent a messenger to invite us back. Of course, the decision to proceed with the discussion without the Eastern Catholic bishops was indeed an oversight, since we are most interested in the prospect of such a war, especially the bishops whose Chaldean or Syriac churches are based in Iraq. It is time for the Church, East and West, to stand side by side looking forward. We may very well have to keep reminding each other that we see from unique perspectives, but we dare not lose focus of the mission our Lord has given us. Cardinal Hussar of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, in an address to the meeting, called on us bishops to work with other religious leaders in calling America back to the moral leadership it once enjoyed throughout the world. You may not have seen the Eastern Catholic bishops entering frequently into the public discussion of the various topics of the meeting: domestic violence, right to life, Hispanic ministry, poverty, migration, stewardship, protection of children and young people. But be assured, we share the Church's concern and intend to be part of the response.